It's my pleasure to present you Yihang Huang, who is a flutist studying in Germany, who will play this morning with Sophie Labandibar, the famous sonata by Reinecke, Undine. So we will do this lesson in two parts, and we will begin with the first movement. But before beginning, it's very important to tune, and I would like to give a small lesson about how to tune on the flute. So please. Oh, it is fine. Actually, what I wanted to say is it's very important to begin, but he did it properly because we studied that before. But mostly, normally, the piano begins to give the A, and the flute is doing, and this is wrong. Why? Because when you start on the flute, normally, and you can see that on a tuner, if you put a tuner here in front of you, you will see that when you begin a note, the A, or even each note of the flute, it begins too sharp. Huh? It does. Of course, I am doing an exaggeration. We begin very, very sharp, and of course, the sound goes down. I would say, in the normal playing. The normal playing is always a little more flat than the very beginning. So if we begin with the piano, for example, the piano, yeah, who has a very stable intonation, you have this, and you do, and especially when you are shouting like this on the flute, which is very often people on the stage are these kind of stupid things. And so you say, oh, I am too sharp. So you will adjust, of course. You will go lower. And at the very beginning, you will be too low. In the opposite way, so what should you do? What you did, actually, which was fine. We have to play a note, not very long, but not too short. Because when it's very short, you have just the attack, and the attack is too sharp. So you do. Of course, you try to sustain the sound, not something like this. You sustain the sound. With a nice sound, I would say a normal sound, something very basic. And now you stop, very important, you stop, you listen. And after you adjust. And it's not necessary, actually, to listen again to the piano, because you have recorded it in your head. You know now the pitch. And now begins the strategy. Now it depends of what you're playing. Undine begins with a soft beginning. I would say if you play Schubert variation, it's the same, it's even more. So in my strategy, I would even, I would tune a little higher to be sure to be on the pitch. In the right intonation. But it depends, of course, if you have time to correct after your embouchure. Because when it will be loud, of course, you will be too flat. But now, listen. So can you give me again an A without piano? It's okay? Stop. Aha, and now you're too flat. The reason is, in this hall, it's not extremely hot. This is also something I have to mention. The problem of the temperature. If the hall is too cold or is cold, of course, the flute, which is in metallic, it will be colder, and so the intonation goes down. So now, actually, you're too flat. Can you adjust a little?
Yes.
And anyway, I would suggest you to begin a little sharp. Again, an A. Now you're okay. So please, a little music now. Nice. We have some problems of intonation. The last thema, the third thema, re, mi, fa, sol, si, was too flat. Yeah, now about this tuning thing again. No, because it's a specific piece for, we have to take care of the intonation. The beginning with this quint, this is difficult, huh? Okay. Perhaps a very short speech about the work. This work has been written end of 19th century, 1882, I think. And it's a piece which is based on a novel by Lamotte Fouquet. Lamotte Fouquet has a French name, but he was German. And Lamotte Fouquet wrote a story about this Undine, which is a sirene. I don't know how do you say in English. You know, such a kind of somebody between a fish and a woman. It's yeah, with this part is a fish and this part is a woman. And this lady, this fish, lives, of course, in the water. So the water, important, huh? And falls in love with a human being. And so this is the story of the impossible love between them. She wanted to be a human being to obtain a soul. And it's a religious reason, actually, basically. And anyway, so we are speaking of water, of what else? In this story, I would say.
Emotion, maybe.
Emotion. Yeah, but I would say more than emotion, love. It's a love story, actually. It's a story between this. And at least the third movement, they are together. It's a love song. Huh? And the last movement is more the pain that it's not possible. This love is not possible because this lady goes back in the water. So the beginning, probably, is the description of the water. This thema. It's fluent, huh? And after the water is described by. Yeah, that's very clear. And what about the second thema? What is your opinion?
I think maybe suddenly a sun shooting the sea and a little bit lighter, maybe.
No, but I mean of this thema. What? What could be? What could be? I don't know. I was not there when Reinecke was composing this piece.
I think the fish, the woman is swimming.
Yeah. You can have this opinion. My opinion is the love. It's the idea of the love, because look also the way how the themas are built. The first thema is built with big intervals. It's not a melody, but this is a melody. I would say a little different, and it's written mezzo forte. The first thema is written piano, and we have a third thema. Which is very simple. So the accompaniment, can you play for us? It's also in a way of something like a child melody. La, 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 la. This is typically from the sonata form. The sonata form is always made, it's not always, but mostly made with two themas, which are extremely opposite, as you know, first and second thema. And there is, before the development, there is mostly, or sometimes I would say, a third thema who is something who is the synthèse, the résumé of the two themas. I would say you have a thema in one mood, a thema in a second mood, and the third thema is something you say, okay, we are actually, we are happy together. So these three themas should have a very specific character all the time. Can we begin again?
No,
Or perhaps, can you do for me the three themas without the piano? So the first one. Yeah, for me, it's a little too melodic. Can you describe the water?
Yeah.
But now you're playing ti ti ta ta ti ta ti, like it would be a dramatic thing. Yeah, but Yihang, please do a nice first note, not a. Okay, that's nice. Now, second thema. Okay, that's fine. Can I have, like it's written, the first thema piano and the second thema mezzo forte? That means perhaps the first thema is too loud. Is it possible to have even less? Yeah, something absolutely mysterious. Huh? The flute is a soft instrument, and I think we have to improve more the piano area than the loud area. We should, of course, improve both. But don't forget, this is a delicate instrument. And now, again. It's fine. Yihang, can I suggest you perhaps the beginning? It's a detail, but it's important. When you begin, you do this. You have this position. Imagine you do a speech to an audience and you begin, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome you. No, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome you. Perfect. Now can I have the second thema, mezzo forte? Love story. Love story. They have the appoggiatura. Oh. Merci. Thank you. Third thema, lullaby.
Yeah.
You tell a story. This is a story. This is a real story. I mean, it's not, you don't have to imagine something totally from you. You have a support. The support is a text. So you tell a story. You say, and now, ladies and gentlemen, the fish and the man are together and they are happy and they are laughing. Yeah, but it's too flat.
Yeah.
Put more speed in the air. Re, mi, fa. Okay, now we have the three elements. I would say we have the three colors. It's like you're painting. So you begin, you have the sheet of paper, which is white, and you have the colors. So now I have a gray, or I have blue because it's water. I have a red because it's love. And I have something which is so-so, which is happy, normal, lullaby. So this is, what should I say, pink or yellow. Okay, so I have these three colors, and now I will begin my painting, okay? Last thing, about this third thema and about the intonation, you played it out of tune, and now you played it in tune, and it was not louder. It was, okay, 1% louder than before. That means that sometimes when we are too low, when we are too flat, actually to blow a little more, for us it sounds like, oh, suddenly it's loud, it's forte. Absolutely not. Between which is of course out of tune, and there is not a big difference in the dynamic. You see, it's not very different. Of course, the second is a little louder, but about the dynamic, I would say piano doesn't mean automatically that people should listen and take care to hear something. No, piano means soft. Very important to notice that. It doesn't mean we don't have to hear. It's soft. Pianissimo, yes. This is a specific dynamic, it's, different. So it's, I would say it's the dynamic of the secret. Piano is soft. Mezzo forte is a normal voice when you speak. Now I speak mezzo forte. If I have to ask you something like this, I am speaking forte. And if I speak like this, which is a kind voice, I speak piano. If I want to tell you a secret, I will use a specific kind of voice, which is a pianissimo. Of course, the fortissimo is even stronger as the forte. So don't think about the volume of sound. You have to imagine more the character. So now we can begin. Again, so water, love, lullaby. Thank you.